Speaking of problems that we've got on the home front with the Albanese government, in an admission that will shock both of the people who thought this government had immigration under control, Treasurer Jim Chalmers has admitted that net immigration will be higher than forecast. Here he is.
We saw net migration figures out during the week that indicated you're not going to hit your target of reducing net migration to under 400,000. Why is that? And it was reported this morning there's a record number of asylum claims in the community.
Those net overseas migration numbers showed that net overseas migration is coming down. And also those numbers are from before our new migration policies kicked in on the 1st of July. They predated that. So those are a couple of important caveats. And that's why there is likely to be a revision to those net overseas migration forecasts because of those fewer departures.
So it will be over 400,000 most likely. Is that fair?
I will update them in the usual way.
Well, in May, Labor had forecast net overseas migration would fall to 395,000 for the 2023-24 financial year. But figures released by the Bureau of Statistics last week showed our migrant intake was at 388,000 in the first 9 months of the financial year, meaning Labor's levels will be well and truly surpassed once the June quarter is accounted for.
Yeah, and as I said, no one is surprised about this. Labor's commitment to reducing immigration was a bit of a joke from the start. No one really, I don't think, ever believed it. But this is the way this government is operating. They'll make a big announcement and then they'll hope that will settle the issue, as if announcements somehow have consequences, and they really don't. Announcing something and doing something are two very different things, as the public are now starting to work out. But the government still think they can announce something, then they fail to act, and then they just re-announce what they had announced earlier, as if somehow that will fix the problem. But when they get caught, did you notice Jim Chalmers? He just points the finger and blames, well, you know, we had arrivals under control, but somehow departures have not been what we thought they would be, as if you guys aren't responsible. Well, you are. We all know it, and that's why they're sinking in the polls.
Of it. We were half right, James.
Exactly.
And
they should get credit for being half right.
Half wrong. Exactly. That's the bit that counts ultimately, isn't it? It's the net number. And you're absolutely right. It's like every pledge and every promise they've made, whether it's energy bills coming down by $275, whether it's housing supply, that they're going to build a certain number of houses, which is well off the mark now. That seems a completely incapable of being reached. And now it's the migration figures. As you say, Labor is hardly the party known for being able to manage immigration, and yet we just see them fail yet again.
You mentioned housing, and I think that's a classic example. Whenever you hear a government minister interviewed about the housing crisis, they just fall back on, well, we announced this many $1 billion, we announced this package, and the fact that nothing's happening seems irrelevant to them. They announced it, and so therefore it's good enough, and we should all say, oh, well, they made an announcement, they promised a certain amount of money, and that's as good as action. And clearly it's not, and that's why on so many fronts the government is failing. But gee, they're great at announcements, and they can't figure out why we don't appreciate it.